This is a continuation of the part 1 video of operators. So we are going to, the past video we have stopped with assignment operators. In this video we'll try to complete the left out operators present in the JavaScript, and today we are going to start from the relational operators. So without any delay, okay, now we'll try to understand what is relational operators. First of all, we have equality operator. Equality operator is basically used for comparing doing the comparison between two variables, like these two things. Num1 is holding the value of 10 and num2 is holding the value of, let's say I change it to 30, and these two values are, num1 has 10 and num2 has 30. So if this double equals to operator is used for comparing these two values are equal or not, like let's say num1 is holding a 10, num2 is holding a 30, right? Is these two values are equal? It's not equal, so the answer should be false. But if I change this to, let's say 10, then the result should be true. This is how that's simple. State equality. Using the state equality, we are not only able to check the variables have that same value or not, but also the variables are having correct data type or not, like same data type or not. In general, if I want to do, like here you can see num1 is holding the value of 10 and num2 is holding the value of 10. So num1 is holding the same value with same data type, num2 is holding the same value with same data type. So the result will be true here if I run this. But if I change this to 20, the result will be false. What if I change in this way? Num1 and num2 are holding same value but different data type, so the result will be false here. That is how simple is that. Now inequality operator. Using the inequality operator, we are able to compare two variables are not equal or not. Like let's say since num1 is holding the value of 100, num2 is holding the value of 100. Let's generally understand. So these two are holding the same values. So if we do a comparison over here, num1 is not equals to num2. This is how we need to read the variables. Num1 is not equals to num2. Is that statement correct? No, because num1 is having the same value and num2 is having the same value. So the result will be false, obviously. So if I change this to 80, this value will be true because 100 is not equals to 80. That is correct. So the result will be true. And the state inequality operator is used for the same thing, like it will be checking the data type also along with the value is not equal and also the data type. Now if we check num1 is having the 100, num2 is having 20 value. So if we compare, num1 is not equals to strictly not equals to num2, right? Which means 100 is strictly not equals to 20. That is obviously true. So the result will be true. But if I change this to 100, now what will be the value? Just guess it and comment down. What the actual value will be is just 100 is not equals to string of 100. So that will be true. Yes, that's correct, right? 100 is a number and this is holding a number data type and this is holding string data type. So these two are different data types. So obviously these two are not equal. So that means that is true. That's it. That is how simple is that. Now if I talk about the less than, greater than and greater than equal to operators, these are nothing but num1 is holding a value of 100 and num2 is holding a value of 80. So num1 is greater than num2, which means 100 is greater than 80. Is that statement correct? That's correct. So the answer will be true here. And for this, num1 is greater than or equal to num2. For this also the value will be true. But this way operator will be useful. I will be showing in the next 1 minute. Just 1 minute. First we'll run this. The result should be true for both of these things. Yes, we got true. But what if I change this to 100? Now the result for this will be false and for this will be true, because 100 is greater than 100. This statement will be wrong. But 100 is greater than or equal to 100. That statement will be true. So false and true will be the result. That is how it is. And for the less than or equal to, the same thing follows. Now if you check here, the num1, which means 80 is less than 80. Is that true? False. 80 is not less than 80. And 80, is it less than or equal to 80? Then that is true, because 80 is equal. So in one part it is equal. So we can consider it as true. So we got the value of false and true. The result should be false and true. But if I change this to 10, then the result will be vice versa, for true and false. Sorry, false. Why? Because 80 is less than, 80 is less than num2, which means 80 is less than 10 is nothing but false. And obviously 80 is less than or equal to 10 is also a false thing. That's correct. False and false. Now if I change this to 10 and 80, if I twist it, then the value will be correct, like true and true. Both will be true and true. That is how it is. Now we'll switch to the logical operators. In logical operators we have three things: logical AND operator, logical OR operator, and the logical NOT operator. So we'll know what actually these operators are: logical AND, OR, and NOT. Using the AND operator, now this comparison we already know. This is known as equality operator and this is known as a less than operator. So here we are combining these two expressions using the AND operator, which means here what it is denoting is that firstly the num1 is holding the value of 10 and num2 is holding the value of 20. So num1, which means 10 is equals to 20, is that statement true? False. Since first statement is only false, now just we'll continue. 10 is equals to 20, it's false. And if I check here, 10, is it less than 100? True. So which means from here we are getting the value as false, and from here we are getting the value as true. So false and true is nothing but which gives us false only. So the final result will be false. If I run this, the result will be false. That is how it is. It's used for combining two expressions. That's it. Now we'll look into the logical OR operator. Logical OR operator, what it tells is that just for doing comparison of two expressions also, like even if any one of them is true, the result will be true. That's it. Like num1 is equals to num2, first thing will be false. But if I check for num1, which is 10 is less than 200, it's true. It's true. Which means we'll get the result as true only. That's correct. True is the answer. Now if we look onto the logical NOT operator is generally used for converting false into true into false. That's simple. That's it. Like if I multiply 10 with 0, the result I will be getting is as 0. So 0 in general, what we call in programming as false, and any number without which is not 0, we'll be considering it as true. So the value 10 multiplied by 0 will be getting as 0. So not of false, not of 0, which means true. So the result will be true here. But if I change the number to 10 here, 10 multiplied by 10, which is nothing but 100. If I do a not of the 100, then I will get a false, which means anything not of value will be a false. Like with a non-negative number, which is number which is greater than 0, that is considered as true, obviously. So 10 multiplied by 10, we got the value as 100, which is not of 100, which will be false. That is what the answer is. Just negating the thing, that's it. If we get the true, we'll be getting the false as a result. If we do the not operator, use a not operator. And if you get the result as false, then if you negate it, we'll get the result true. If we got the true, then we can negate it to get the false. Just vice versa. The other operators are unary operators. Unary operators are used on the just single operands only. Like let's say, first of all, there is a number 1 which is storing the value of 10. So if I apply the unary plus operator on this, then obviously the number 10 is positive only. But if I apply plus on it, the result obviously will be 10. But you won't be able to see its benefits here. But later in the code while writing, you'll be able to see the use of this unary operator, unary plus operator. The result will be 10. Yes, the plus will be added to the extension, has its value. Now unary minus operator. Unary minus operator is basically used for applying the minus in front of the value actually. So if I try to negate the value, I can do it using this unary minus operator. Like the value of the number 1 is 10. So in the unary minus result, I will be getting the result as minus 10, which means the result will be minus 10. That is how it is. And increment operator, decrement operator, and type of operator. These are really important operators, and there will be a lot of MCQ questions can be prepared from these things. So please understand these things very carefully. Like currently we have a variable num which is holding the value of 10. So if I try to store the double plus and the num, what does this mean is that first increment and then store the value. What actually the meaning of increment is that increase, which means currently I have the value of 10 in num. So first increment the num value to plus 1, like do a plus 1 to that num, which means level, and store that result in the pre-increment result, which means the value I will be getting in the pre-increment result is level. So here the result will be level. Now here in the post increment, since the num value is currently at the let's say that is for that one, and let's say now num1, this is num1, num2 is equals to 100. And if I do the post increment of num2, which means first store and then increment, which means first we will be storing the 100 in the post increment result, and then we will be incrementing the num2 value to 1, which means from 100 to 102, which means currently we will be having the value in pre increment result has level, and for the post increment result has 101. But if I change this variable, you will get to know the actual difference where it is happening. Like if num, this is num, then now just check it. If I do a pre increment here, the 10 will become level and it will be stored in the pre increment result first. So the value will be level here. But now since the value is num value is level, so if I do the post increment, which means the level will be stored first in the post increment result, then the value will be 12. So if I do a print of num also here, you will be able to check the result will be first the pre increment result will be level, then post increment result will be level, then the num value will be 12. So this is the result we will be getting. Sorry, I need to remove this. Somewhere I'm doing error. 1 minute. Sorry, there is no num1 actually. Num is the only thing. See, you can see that level 12 is the answer. Level 12, which I previously told. This is how it is. Just try to understand this statements like first increment and then store the value is the slogan of pre-increment, and first store and then increment is the slogan of the post increment. Now we'll see for the decrement operator. It applies the same thing. Like decrement operator is nothing but first pre-decrement is nothing but first decrement, which means the value here will be 9, and the value once it comes here, the value will become, first it will store the 9 and then it will decrement to 8. So the result, final result will be 9, 9 and 8. This is what the result will be, 9, 9 and 8. This is how simple. Just try to understand these operators properly, because without this you cannot proceed further. You cannot do any problem. And the other one is type of operator. The type of operator is nothing but it is used for checking the data type of any variable. What actually the data type of any variable. Using the type of operator we can check that. As we already discussed the type of operator in the last class, so we'll be having good knowledge of this. So like type of, here I'm doing the, here I have the variable first, the num has a value of 10 and the username has a value of Prithvi Dev Artist. So the data type of these two things you can check by using the type of operator. So the type of operator, using the type of operator I'm able to check the data type of num and username. So the current result will be number and the string. Yeah, this is what it is. These are all known as unary operator. The name unary is given to this because unary operators, because these operators can be applied on a single operands only, which means we don't require both operands to be there. Like this is where we in the arithmetic operators, how we have these two things, right? Num1 and num2, we require both operands, but here we don't require those things in logical operator, in unary operators. So coming to conditional operators are nothing but used for checking, like we can do a ternary operations over here. Like in simple I can say, like if the result of this something is equals to true, then execute this statement, and if it is false, then execute this statement. Using the question mark and colon, we can create these conditional operators, like conditional expressions. This question mark and colon are considered as the conditional operators. So let's say the name one is holding a name of Prithvi, name 2 is holding the name of Raj. So I'm checking here. Is name 1 is equals to name 2 using the equality operator, checking it, and I got the result as Prithvi is not equals to Raj. Is Prithvi is equals to Raj, which is false. So the result will come here and it will print both names are not equal, and I will get the result as both names are not equal. But if I change this to Prithvi, it will print as both names are equal. Now if we try to understand what is bitwise operators are, these are nothing but operators which are applied on the bits of each values that are stored in the system. Confusing, like bit of confusing, right? So it is generally nothing but at the end of the day, every value and everything that we store in the system will be stored in the format of zeros and ones, nothing more than that. So to manipulate those bits, zeros and ones, we'll be using these bitwise operators. That's it. But we'll try to understand what is the bitwise operators in detail in later videos. But we'll stick to these operators, the other operators what we have learned just now, because these are real useful in our day-to-day tasks. So we'll focus on those things first. Now coming to the combining expressions, it consists of 5 things, like simple expression, complex expression, string concatenation, logical expression, ternary expressions. In simple, if I want to tell about the expression, it is nothing but just what we were doing in this, right? Like 1 minute. Yeah, these things and these things, these are all expressions. Here also I'm doing the same thing. Like in the variable sum, I'm storing the 10 plus 2, that is nothing but an expression. So the result will be 30. And the other one is the complex expression. Complex expression is nothing but here we'll be applying the concept of BODMAS. I hope everybody has a good idea of this BODMAS, because we have learned regarding this BODMAS in our earlier classes. That is borders, orders, division, multiplication, addition and subtraction, which means we need to go in this format only while doing this type of dealing with complex expression. Which means first the result will be, first the value within the brackets will be computed. 100 multiplied by 2, which is 200. Then this bracket will be calculated. 8 divided by 4, which is 2. 100 multiplied by 2 is nothing but 200. 200 plus 4, 2. 200 plus 2 is nothing but 202. The result will be 202. That is how it is. The string concatenation is nothing but adding two strings actually. If we let's say there's a variable name, first name holding the name of Prithvi and last name is holding the name of Raj. So if I combine these two things and store it in the variable full name, then I will be getting the name as Prithvi Raj. That is how it is. That is string concatenation. Then the logical expression is nothing but what we were doing in the comparisons, logical operators. That is what the logical expression is. Like doing both things at the time, like comparing two expressions. That is logical expression. And the ternary expression, we have came across this code in the previous class, previous operator, that is conditional operator. So here we will be checking like name 1, Prithvi is equals to Raj. Since it is not equal, that result will be both names are not equal. This is what the ternary expression means. Both names are not equal. So with this we have completed this entire section. And I'm stressing on this word really importantly, because you need to understand mostly the operators, because without these operators you cannot take even a single step further. So I urge you people to just focus on these classes really well, so that you can get a good knowledge. and try to go through this lesson once or twice until you understand, because in a single shot you cannot understand this whole lesson. So try to go through this in a bit and pieces so that you will be having a good knowledge. And I just want to give one exercise, but let's try to understand first this the concept, grab this concept perfectly, and then we'll go for the exercise. But first just understand this, go through this complete lesson perfectly, and we'll meet on the next week. Thank you all, have a great day, bye bye.